All right, so we just finished packing up. We're about to head up to Tennessee to the Brushy Mountain State Prison for the Southeast Overland Camping event for 2025. Time to roll. Follow along.
Since we would be traveling with kids, we decided to stop halfway in Hickory, North Carolina for the first night. The next morning, we would wake up and finish the trip from Hickory to Petros, Tennessee, to Brushy Mountain State Penitentiary.
All right, so we just made it to Brushy Mountain, got checked in, got camp set up. We're gonna get ready now and head to check out the vendor station and the event schedule and check out everyone's rigs. There's a lot of nice rigs out here, so this will be nice to see.
Behind me on the right, you'll see my brother-in-law's camper, the Coleman Rubicon, with my blue Tacoma in the middle, the 843 TRD rig. And over here on the left is Addison's truck, the Adventure Overland rig. After camp was set up, we made our way to the vendor area. There were a ton of amazing vendors on site this year. We also checked out all of the great campers and overlanding rigs. Then we made our way to the new pizzeria on site, Paroli's Pizza, for some dinner before going to watch the bluegrass music played live under the pavilion. After a little music, we met back up at the campsite and enjoyed some time together by the fire. After a great night's sleep, minus a few car alarms going off in the middle of the night, we woke up early for the sunrise, had some breakfast, and made our way up to the historic penitentiary for a tour of the facility. Brushy Mountain State Penitentiary first opened its wooden doors in 1896. It was built by the hands of the original 210 inmates, but later replaced with limestone by prison labor in 1934. It served as Tennessee's only maximum security prison for 113 years and housed the state's most violent offenders. In its early years, if the prisoners didn't hold common jobs, such as working in the blacksmith shop, laundry room, or kitchen, they were tasked with working the coal mines for 12 plus hours a day. Due to the number of deaths associated with this work or at the prison in general, the nickname of Brushy Mountain State Penitentiary became End of the Line. In 1967, after a mine collapsed and killed 2 of the inmates, then Warden Lake Russell ended the decades-long legacy of the inmates mining coal at Brushy Mountain. Arguably the most infamous inmate of Brushy Mountain was James Earl Ray, who was convicted of assassinating Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. James Earl Ray initially admitted to the assassination, but later recanted his story. Before James Earl Ray died, he promised Martin Luther King Jr.'s son that he had nothing to do with the murder, though these claims had never been verified. Aside from a few escape attempts, one of which led to a massive FBI manhunt, it is said that James Earl Ray was a model prisoner. James Earl Ray was tasked with the job of working in the laundry room. He spent most of his days as a resident of cell number 28. Here in the cafeteria, the inmates would grab their tray, collect their food, and find their place to eat. The cafeteria was known to be very tense and oftentimes violent, with many inmates being killed right here in this very room. With the amount of violence that happened in this room, there were always 2 guards stationed inside the cafeteria. If things got out of hand, there would also be 2 armed guards with 30-aught rifles pointed into the cafeteria through the holes in the walls right here in front of you. These guards were tasked with taking a shot if they needed to stop anything from happening. We continued down to the basement to see where the inmates were put when they wouldn't listen and couldn't be kept under control. This 4-foot wide by 8-foot long room is known as the hole. No windows, very small quarters. Heading outside, we got to see the yard. The yard is where inmates would be able to exercise and socialize. In the early days, they would hold baseball games between inmates and guards, and even the local people from the town would come to watch. In the gym, you could find inmates holding boxing matches, weightlifting, playing basketball, or one of many other games or ways of exercising and socializing. The museum area showcased many artifacts from the prison, such as the ability for inmates to craft shanks or knives from their bed frame to use as weapons. Some of these prisoners were super talented, as showcased by this collection of artwork made by the prisoners themselves during their time in prison. I take a look at some of these paintings and drawings and wonder just what these people could have done in the outside world if they had used their talents for good rather than doing the things that got them sent to prison in the first place. We finished up our tour of the prison and then went back inside to the souvenir shop and distillery. We bought a few souvenirs and then decided to do a little taste testing and sampled some of the moonshine made here at the Brushy Mountain Distillery. After that, it was time for dinner, so we decided to have dinner here at the warden's table and then went back to our campsite to hang out, have a bonfire, and of course, make some s'mores. All right, we just left camp at the Brushy Mountain State Prison, and we've got one more surprise before we make our way back home. About 30 minutes from the Brushy Mountain Penitentiary, and only a short walk from the highway, is a beautiful waterfall called Ozone Falls. It is a 110-foot waterfall. It was also used in various scenes of the movie The Jungle Book. At the base of the falls is a beautiful little swimming hole filled with blue-green water. Thank you for following along on our adventure. We hope you enjoyed it. We sure did. Please join us again for our next adventure. Like, subscribe, follow, whatever you want to do, but be sure to check back in as we will be posting more of our adventures.
What'd you think of the waterfall?
I like it.
You like it?
A special thanks to TNT Overlander for hosting such a wonderful event. You guys check out next year's Southeast Overland Camping event. It's definitely worth it.